Welcome to our weekly Bible Reader Companion series. This week, our reading is taken from Revelations chapter 13 through 22, with our memory verse being taken from Revelation chapter 21 and verse 7. From the New King James, our memory verse reads, "He who overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son." Let's read together Revelations 21, the first 8 verses, which contains the context of our memory verse. Beginning in verse 1, "Now I saw a new heaven and new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. Also there was no more sea. Then I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. God himself will be with them and be their God. And God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away. Then he who sat on the throne said, Behold, I will make all things new. And he said to me, Write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said to me, It is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give the fountain of life. I will give of the fountain of the water of life freely to him who thirsts. He who overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. But the cowardly, unbelieving, abominable, murderers, sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death." This section of Revelation begins what I believe to be John's description of the eternal destiny of the redeemed. This would have been of great interest to the original recipients of the book and certainly should be of great interest to us today. Christians throughout the ages have been comforted by reading this portrayal of our future abode. The background of Revelation was given to early Christians to comfort by answering the questions that surely must have been upon their hearts. Why is this tribulation taking place, and how long will it continue, and what will be the final outcome? Now, as John's apocalypse draws to a close, a description is given of the eternal destiny of the righteous and a view of life after death. The description of a new heaven and new earth is imagery used to provide great hope and comfort to Christians concerning our eternal destiny. This is certainly nothing new, for both the Old and the New Testament references provide similar promises to increase anticipation of the future. What do I mean by this? For example, Isaiah used this same imagery, talking about new heavens and new earth, when he prophesied of the new order that was to replace the Mosaic economy back in Isaiah 65 and 66 specifically. Isaiah was speaking of the period of the church age, the New Testament era. Peter likewise used this term in 2 Peter 3, new heavens and new earth, when describing events which would follow the judgment. I believe that both Peter and John here in Revelation chapter 20 were both writing of the final judgment and what should follow, rather than specifically speaking of the church today, then and now is being refined through suffering. This new holy city, the New Jerusalem coming down out of heaven, is superior to the present order, is of divine origin as it comes from God. This is the city searched for by the patriarchs of old, which hath the foundation whose builder and maker is God, and for which we seek an abiding city, which is to come, as we can read over in Hebrews 11 and 13. Saints on the earth have citizenship in the heavenly country, certainly, and in this sense we have come to Mount Zion. But in another sense, we have not yet reached the eternal abode that God prepared for Abraham and all others who follow his example of faith. What a wonderful blessing is proclaimed for the redeemed who remain faithful unto death. But this proclamation for the righteous is reinforced by God himself, along with a warning for the wicked. Verse 7's use of the term "he who overcomes" draws our mind back to the 7 churches of Asia and the special promises to those who overcame. They will emerge triumphant over all of Satan's allies. The water of life is free to all who will come and drink. Salvation is a gift of God, and we must choose to serve him and not love our life more than our service to God. In contrast to the inheritance of the righteous, the Lord now describes the character and destiny of the wicked here in verse 8. This serves as a warning to all who are living, for after death it is too late to make any correction in life. Thus the wicked shall have their part in the lake of fire and brimstone, to suffer together with the beast, the false prophet, and Satan himself. Let's remember our memory verse, Revelation 21 and verse 7. He who overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. Thank you, and join us again tomorrow as we continue to meditate on God's Word together.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook for more content like this.